I told you, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and I got a list of proof.
Order.
If I'm going down,
Order
I'm taking a whole lot of people with me.
Order in the court.
Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So, I'm reading an article this morning, and it was basically Oscar De La Hoya speaking on the upcoming fight of Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev, November 2nd, MGM Grand, Vegas. Oscar De La Hoya said he did not recommend this fight. Now, in the article, the exact quote is, I didn't recommend it, moving up 2 weight classes. He has to move up 15 pounds. That's a lot of power and a lot of speed and a lot of strategy to come into play. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. But this is why the zone is working. It's bringing the biggest fights to the consumers, De La Hoya said to Yahoo Finance. End quote. Now, Oscar De La Hoya. Earlier in this article, it mentions that Canelo Alvarez has never fought beyond the super middleweight limit. And last I checked, Canelo Alvarez is the WBA regular champion. But you know what? I'm going to just go to the WBA rankings to confirm that right now. Well, the WBA regular champion at 168. So let's see what the rankings say. I'm saying this because we all know Canelo has fought over the middleweight limit more than once. When he fought Chavez Jr. and then when he just fought Rocky Fielding. And according to the WBA, Canelo Alvarez is their WBA world champion. And Callum Smith is the super champion. All right. So just based off of the WBA's current rankings, if Canelo Alvarez is the WBA world champion, regular champion at 168, Canelo Alvarez is now moving up 100. He's not moving up 2 weight classes because he's a champion at 168. That's one thing. Now, another thing about it is Oscar De La Hoya wants to talk about how he didn't recommend this fight. And I feel like this is a fight that Canelo wants. And I feel like Oscar has in the back of his head, it's still some danger associated with this fight because Kovalev is a bigger guy. Now, do I feel like Kovalev can do a Tyson Fury impression or his best impression of Sean Porter? And by that means, when you have a big fight put in front of you, you condition yourself to the maximum level. You come into this fight 100% prepared, the best version of yourself. And this second part doesn't necessarily apply to Sean Porter, more so applies to Tyson Fury. That version of yourself that they saw of you prior to this fight that they're possibly preparing for will not be the version of yourself that's in the ring. And you'll be a lot more improved, a lot more conditioned. I feel like Sergey Kovalev will possibly go that route and bring the best version of himself out. Obviously, when he was in the ring with Anthony Yarde, he had a lot of vulnerable moments that the young, inexperienced guy was definitely taking advantage of, but ultimately suffering a knockout to Sergey Kovalev. With that being said, I mean, it's really hard for me to gauge because I don't know which version of Sergey Kovalev is going to show up. And that makes it extremely difficult. If the Crusher is back, I pick the Crusher to beat Canelo. If you have this Russian drunk Sergey Kovalev that's in the ring with Canelo, then he's going to get stopped to the body. To me, it's just going to be one of those two outcomes, but I feel like this is a fight where the ball is in Kovalev's court. And the direction Kovalev decides to go, it's on him. Kovalev can flip the zone's world upside down, or he can continue his path of destroying his body and destroying his career and just get stopped by Canelo and just become another name on Canelo Alvarez's resume. I feel like at this point it's just really all up to Kovalev, and he'll decide what he wants to do. And we'll know going into the fight. Put it like this. If Kovalev comes into this fight and I'm noticing that his conditioning is a lot better than his previous fights, like during his training camp, if Kovalev has anything remotely close to defined abs, and we're talking about a guy that's like over 6 feet tall, and he's weighing it at 175, like the lack of muscle mass on Kovalev's frame is already ridiculous for just his build that he has. So if Kovalev comes in like he did some strength and conditioning, like he worked on his core, and he just seems serious. Obviously, one training camp is not going to build your tolerance up to the body, but if it seemed like he put in the work, if it seemed like he's on the scale and he doesn't look drained, maybe that'd be a better version of Kovalev. But we'll see what happens. Like, obviously, win or loss in this fight, I really don't have a stake in it, because Kovalev, I mean, he's a fucking racist. I don't like him. Canelo, on the other hand, he's done a lot of things on the boxing side that I don't prefer. You know, he's failed drug tests, and I want Canelo to lose again. So ultimately, Kovalev being stopped by a smaller guy, you know, it's laughable for me. It's good entertainment. But Canelo maneuvering so much that he puts himself in a position and he loses, or he potentially gets stopped by Kovalev. That shit entertaining for me as well. So we'll see what happens, guys. November 2nd, MGM Grand, Las Vegas. It's Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm out.